So the slides are here.
Yes.
So, okay, you can start.
Thank you so much. And hello, everybody. It's so nice to see you again. So greetings from Norway. And thank you for the invitation to give a short feedback on our project entitled Methane Emission Microbiome and Immune Function in Dairy Cattle. My name is Angela Schwarm, and I'm affiliated at the Norwegian University of Life Sciences. And Björn Kuhler was the host of the project, conducted in Germany at the FBN. And with us were also Ulrike Gimser from the FBN for the immune part. And then from NMBU, Puchun Niu, my PhD student, and Phil Pope for the microbiome. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so René Beaumont asked me to give feedback on following points. How did you hear about the program? How was the preparation of the project and the realization? What are the conditions for the project to run smoothly? And are there any points to improve in the future? What scientific breakthrough did the project allow you to achieve that you would not have been able to achieve without this opportunity? Next slide, please. So I heard about the program from Cornelia Metkes. She introduced it on a post, I remember, at the annual meeting of the German Society of Nutrition Physiology. And then when there was a call open, Björn Kuhler sent me a message that there's a call open for submission. So that's how I heard about it. Next slide, please. Yeah, for the preparation of the project, I mean, Björn Kuhler and I discussed the ongoing and planned trials, and maybe how, if it's possible, to hop on these to collect additional samples from blood and rumen fluid for immune response and microbiome, and also the capacity for new trials, and also then the feasibility, or, I mean, it's very, I mean, how convenient this is, or to do then any extra animal experimentation permit application, or if we can join these ongoing trials. So in the end, we came up with that we could use for this project 16 Holstein cows in the third lactation at the peak and lactation, so repeated measures. And as often in science research, plans are revised, and that's totally fine. Maybe that gives a major breakthrough. So we ended up with 20 early lactating cows and 14 in the end lactation, which were then 34 individual cows, so no repeated measures here in the second, third, and fourth lactation. Next slide, please. Yes, I guess for the condition to run smoothly, it's good to have good communication, so that, I mean, that we update each other on what's going on. So Björn Kuhler updated me on how many cows now they had processed, and so that went very well. And then about this, there was this in-kind contribution. So we then got the samples from FBN that were sent to Denmark for analysis, so that, yeah, I think communication is the best basis. And then maybe for the improvement, so we had to write, it was supposed to be 4 reports within a 1-year project. So maybe in future it could be reduced to midterm and final report. And I came up with another one. So it was supposed to be a visit of the host institution, and due to COVID, that was not realized in this project. And maybe general, it would be nice to plan for seminar talks, so that the TNA user has a talk at the host institution and the host a talk at the TNA user institution, just to foster exchange between institutions, and also that's very good for career development. Next slide, please. Yeah, so scientific breakthrough, I'm not so sure, but we have very nice data. So I will give a presentation at the Greenhouse Gas Animal Agriculture Conference, GGAA, now in June in Florida, entitled Effect of Methane Category and Lactation Stage on Immune Response and the Rumen Microbiome. Yes, I mean, what we found was that the microbiome differed more between early and lactating cows than between low and high methane yielders within lactation stage, which may be likely be explained that the early and lactating cows were not the same individuals here. But still, we were surprised how few bacteria and archaea genera differed within lactation stage between the low and the high yielders. And then we found that higher methane per dry matter, so the animals in early lactation with a higher methane emission per dry matter intake had a higher milk yield per dry matter intake. So higher methane yielders had a higher feed conversion efficiency. And then we concluded maybe that additional energy through higher fermentation activity improved then both the immunocompetence, because these animals had a better immune response, and this feed conversion efficiency, but only during the energetically demanding early lactation. So we didn't saw this relationship in late lactating cows. Next slide, please. Yes, so Norway was unfortunately not participating in SmartCow, but we would love to be part in SmartCow 2.0 if there will be one in the future, or also in future actions, similar like these ones. And in Norway, we have respiration chambers for sheep and more than 10 green feed units. And we have many fistulated cows also. And finally, I would like to thank you for your attention.
So thank you very much, Angela. I propose that we move to the second speaker and the third speakers, and we will have a common discussion after the three feedbacks. So stay online. So the second feedback is given by Rafael Boye from French Livestock Institute. He worked with Ahlstrm in Spain. So, just waiting for the slides. Okay, so you can start, Raphaël.
Thanks. So hi everyone. I'm Rafael Boye. I'm working for the dairy production department at the French Livestock Institute, and we had the TNA experience program with the IRTA facility, and we are working also with Professor Mishek Shagunda and SRUC team on this project. So first question is, how did we hear about the TNA program? So it's not very original, because we have a partnership with SRUC and the adaptation of the laser methane detector to measure enteric methane emission of ruminant at large scale from a few years now. And we were looking for a facility research facility to test some effect of environmental condition on the laser. And so this is Richard, which suggests us to apply to this call. So how was the preparation and the realization of the project with the research installation? It was during winter 2021, so no travel to IRTA in Spain possible during this time. So we only made all of this with video conference. But everything went well, or for my side, I think. And so we make three video conference to present the trial, to also speak about the protocol details, and a last one for training with using the laser methane detector, which was, I think, the more complicated in video. But it's done and everything went well. So, And about the realization, everything went well also. Protocol was good respect and we have good discussion about it. We had compliance with the timetable. Marta tell us updates during all the trials, so it was very appreciated by us. And she was also disponible to help us to fill the 4 reports asked by the TNA program, which was sometimes a little bit difficult for us. So that's it. What are the conditions for TNA project run smoothly? I think 4 things are very important. First is taking the time to discuss about aims of the trials and outcomes of our projects to have the same things about it. It's also trusting each other between facility manager and user, and in our case it was very important because all of things have been done by Visio, so we need pictures and also discussion to be sure that we will do what we want. Agreeing on the CRE protocol, and also taking the time to well communicate during the trial to be sure that everything going well. And for my part, I find nothing for the moment to add for improvement of this TNA program, but I'm quite okay with the first remark of precedent speaker, which was 4 reports for this. Maybe too much, but okay. And for the scientific breakout of our TNA projects, so it was a test of tools. So now we have a better understanding of the influence of different position of the operator on our measurements. And it gave us the possibility to work on a clear and fixed protocol to reduce this impact of the operator and to obtain reliable and repeatable results. And our aims at mid and long term, it's create enteric meta-emission reference with on-field with these tools, because it's easy to use at the farm commercial farm scales, and also to contribute to the evaluation of farmers' correct carbon credits, and maybe in more long time set up genetic or genomic selection strategies using these tools for the reduction of methane emissions. And so, thank you for your attention.
So, thank you, Raphael. I note the importance of human behavior in applying techniques, as it was. Our third feedback will be given by John Edwards from the Palital company in the Netherlands. So if we can have Joan.
Hello. Can you hear me and see me?
We can hear you, we can see you, we are just waiting for the slides. Yes.
So, thank you. And thank you to the organisers for asking me to present my experiences. So, my name's Joan Edwards and I work in the the research and development section of Palital feed additives here in the Netherlands. So our project was focused on looking at the effect of a new product that we have called Rumen Ready on transition dairy cows. Next slide, please. So I heard about the TNA program through academic Rosalina Klink at Vatican Livestock Research here in the Netherlands. this was in the context of discussion about this rumen ready product, because we really wanted to do more to scientifically underpin the product concept. And the product is a magnesium butyrate, specifically for transition cows. And the concept of the product is here shown schematically. I don't have a cursor to walk you through the figure, unfortunately, but on the x-axis, you've got the days of the cow is in lactation or in the dry period, so 0 being the point of calving on the x-axis scale, and on the y-axis, the rumen wall surface area. So in the dry period, the rumen wall surface area decreases, and at the point of lactation, at the point of calving, the cow moves into lactation, and there's a lag before the rumen wall surface area is fully redeveloped. The purpose of the product, the aim is to stimulate an earlier redevelopment of the rumen wall surface area by using magnesium butyrate, hence the product name Rumen Ready. Next slide, please. In terms of the project preparation, I looked around at the different facilities that were available as part of the TNA, and the best match to performing a transition cow study was at Aarhus University. However, as it was the last call that I became aware about the SmartCow project, there was actually no cow weeks left at Aarhus University, which was unfortunate for us. But we decided to play a little gamble, and we saw that some other facilities had underutilised their cow week budget, and so we gambled on there being a reallocation potentially of some resources. So I built a project team to develop the application, and that involved researchers here as well as, of course, at the Aarhus University facility. And that was very important to us because that really allowed us to get very leading expertise on transition cows and interventions and how to do these type of experiments. So the project application itself was evaluated as good, but there was insufficient funds, and we were notified of this of February last year. Several months later, though, we were approached that there was a funding supplement available, so a trial was indeed possible at Aarhus University, which was a very happy day for me. I remember doing a little happy dance. But one of the challenge was it was not the full funds that we had planned originally for the study, and so there was we needed to redesign and rethink the experiment and the aims. And because of the timeline of SmartCow, we had to finish the trial within 6 months from being notified that we had received this supplementary funding. Next, please. So I'm delighted to say that Aarhus University was excellent with accommodating this revised trial design and also delivering the project within timescale in terms of the running of the animal trial. And the trial execution and communication was superb. 11 out of 10, Mokens and his team did an excellent job. And just to explain, this was involved weekly meetings during the trial, as well as a physical visit prior to the start of the trial to make sure everything was clear in terms of how the trial was being conducted and the samples being analysed and collected. And in addition to that, Aarhus were also great in allowing us to install a rumen bolus system and all the gateway devices actually within the barns to allow us to get pH and temperature measurements of the rumen as well, which was something that they had not prior experience in. So that was also really nice that they were willing to take that extra step for us. So that was very valuable. So currently the project, we're now still analysing samples and the data. So more to be continued in the future with results. Next, please. So in terms of insights, what are the conditions for the TNA project to run smoothly and points to improve in the future? What kind of, next please. I think really what we're asking here, what's the recipe for success? And as always, gave 110%, and that was indeed what Aarhus did. But really it's, for us, it was having the ability to find the appropriate animal resources. So for us, transition cows were a key resource that we needed to have access to, as well as the appropriate expertise to be able to plan and execute a trial to the best ability. And excellent communication has to be one of the top priority things, particularly with a COVID backdrop in recent years. Flexibility as well for us was very key, like I explained, because of the change in terms of the funding allocation and the tight timeline that we were faced with, which, again, full credit to Iris, they were brilliant. Next. So it's hard to further improve on 11 out of 10, but I think as a user, something that I would like to reinforce is that in my situation, the emphasis was very much on finishing the trial within the timeline. And as a consequence, less attention was given to thinking about the subsequent timeline of the sample analysis and the statistical analysis of the results, and really to focus on getting a high quality output, peer-reviewed publications. This is something that end users from an industry perspective really need to think very carefully about. And there was a very clear dialogue about that with with Aarhus University about what was included within the project and what wasn't. Next, please. Next. If I knew there was going to be me saying next all the time, I would not put so many animations on these slides, I have to say. So for us, the first breakthrough was it allowed us a new collaborative opportunity with leading experts on transition cows, as well as the facilities that they had at their disposal. The project outcomes, of course, are still in progress because we're still analysing samples and processing the data, but they're going to give us key insights into the feed intake, not just during lactation, but also within the dry period. And that was something that was important to us. And not many facilities in Europe are set up for doing both. So again, ours were excellent with this resource. We'll be looking at blood metabolism, the rumen fermentation and microbiota, and also some inflammation biomarkers. These insights are really going to help us underpin the proven beneficial impact that we've seen of this product for transition cows. So it's increasing colostrum, calving ease, calf vitality, milk yield, fertility, body condition score, and decreasing disease as well. So really taking all the welfare side of things in terms of the production and actual farm side of things. So one of the other breakthroughs for us that this work will enable is a clearer understanding of that butyrate does have value for mature ruminants, because that's very limited at this point in time in terms of scientific knowledge. And the literature that is out there is not focused on this rumen redevelopment concept, which we've pioneered at Palital. Thank you for your attention, which is the next slide.
So thank you very much, Joan, for this very nice talk. If we can have Angela and Joan on the screen, and I ask Raphael to come back here for the questions, if there are questions. Unfortunately, Richard Dew has had to left the conference, but if there are more questions about TNA process, Peter and myself can try to answer. So we can take about 5-10 minutes for questions before the lunch break. So about the TNA process, about the experience. So I think the three feedbacks we heard were very positive. I don't know if 25 TNA are all so positive, but I can show you that we did not choose extra vis. Okay, yeah.
Would you have done the experiment without the possibility of TNA? It's for all three speakers.
Yes? So?
Would you have done the experiment without SmartCow?
If there was not SmartCow,
would you have done it?
Have done the experiment somewhere else?
Very good question. I don't know. I think. Yeah, it was a.
So that's not a yes.
Yeah.
That's not a yes.
Yeah. It was a lot of time for the measurements. So maybe we were thinking about to propose an internship on this, but we do not have the same farm capacities. So it was very good to have this TNA program for us.
Okay, and the question, but maybe Angela and Joan would like to respond to a question of Jaap.
Yes, the answer is no. We would not have done this research.
And I think from my perspective...
Because of funding or because of research infrastructures that you don't have to do this?
Both.
And Angela? Joan.
Joan. In terms of, we would have still tried to do the work, but it would have been to a much more limited ability in terms of the resources we could have allocated to doing it. So for sure, we've got a much better result and probably a shorter time scale as well compared to what we'd have been able to do otherwise as a company. So really valuable for us.
Okay, there was another question by Michelle.
Yes, thank you. My question is a little bit from the other side, from the viewpoint of the facilities hosting the project. Did the project bring something new or induce sustainable changes in the services offered by the facilities? And also, did it happen that projects were incompatible, that if you accept this project, maybe you, for instance, you provide an ingredient in the diet for some time, and then you need some time for the animals to come back to the steady state, so that you have sort of a refractory period, and after one project, you cannot take a second one immediately. Did it occur in the facility?
Okay. So maybe I can start to answer your question, and then we can ask the three facility representative. We have Marta, we have Bjorn, and Peter for ours to answer your question, Michelle. Maybe a little bit more explanation about the selection process of the TNA project. At the start, we encourage all the TNA applicants to go in contact as soon as possible with a facility manager to study the feasibility of the project before applying to the call. And in the evaluation criteria, of course, the scientific quality of the project was the first criteria, but the feasibility of the project was also evaluated, and it was also an important criteria in the selection process of the project. But if a representative of the three facilities want to add some comment, Marta for IRTA.
Marta from IRTA. In general, I remember when first the user contact you to ask if you want to do this project. I remember someone asking me to do some liver biopsies, and I said, no, we are not able to do that. So I refused to this TNA. In the specific working with Rafael, it was a nice experience. It's true that it's a hard work just to take the laser all the time, and we combined this work with two different persons just doing this, one in the morning, the other one in the afternoon, and it was a nice experience because we don't have any measurement for methane emissions in our facility, and we bought one. So we just take take this benefit. We try it and we like a little bit. So it's a nice approach. It's an easy approach that we can incorporate in our facilities. So we just bought one to start to work with.
Peter?
Yeah, maybe from Aarhus. In theory, the TNA user can approach the TNA host directly. So basically, the people in the barn, and ask for this trial to run. But then you might have basically your data coming back basically in a bucket, and nobody are really interested in that. So all the trials we have run at Aarhus, there has been a scientist involved as well, which I see as to get really high quality data. And therefore, it has also been a key point for us that the trial and the scope of the trial had an interest for us. Because otherwise, the scientists are not really willing to engage. So that was very important for us as well.
Bjorn, you want to add something for FBN?
Yeah, I clearly can agree with what Peter just said. I have to admit that Angela knew about the possibilities and the facilities we have in Dummersdorf, and she knew before what's possible, what's not. But the development of the scientific questions came exclusively from her. So that eased a lot, I would say.
Okay, Jaap, you want to...
Yeah, can I comment on Peter's comment? Because it is a research infrastructure project. And of course, these research infrastructures are typically associated with local researchers. So to what extent did you need the expertise from the local researchers rather than getting your data in a bucket and deal with it yourself?
Yes, I agree with what Peter and Bjorn said. It's very important to have expertise of some scientists. Scientists can be in the infrastructure or in the laboratory. It depends. The organization between the different countries are not the same. But it's very important to be involved in the process, in the protocol development, and to ensure that we have a good...
But is it crucial?
For me, it's crucial. For the experience we had at Norway, we hosted 3 TNA projects. I was involved in one. I think Cécile was involved in the second one, and another scientist in our group was involved in the third one. And it is also a way to develop new collaboration, a way to have new data that can contribute to research activity, as Cécile presented this morning in the WP6. Of course, it can be completely external, but it's less interesting and less chance of success. Isabelle?
Yes, isn't it a problem for the EU Commission? Because this TNA is supposed to host experiments for people which are out of the facility, and I suppose the research unit which is close to the facility is considered inside and not out. So if at the end there is...
no, but it's a win-win situation, because it gives the possibility from an external user, it can be an academic or industry user, to make a scientific work with the collaboration of scientists from the host institution, and with access to the research infrastructure.
It's
I think the best experience are win-win situation.
Because if I was the EU Commission, I would assume that I cannot differentiate that from a situation where a scientist, like based at INRAE, wanted to work in herbipol, but that doesn't have enough money to run the experiment, contact a colleague abroad, and do you want to do this experiment with me? And at the end, we have a common paper. So it's a bit tricky to see the difference. That's why I asked, what is the position of the Commission on that?
Maybe Mark can answer because you have much more experience than us. You are in the third infrastructure project.
I am not the Commission, but what we do in AquaExcel is that we authorize the fact that people from the consortium access to another infrastructure. It simulates collaboration. I would say you can see it the way you do, but if you have an infrastructure which also has a lot of partners disseminated across Europe, and this, I mean, stimulating collaboration between partners, not on the subject or on the GRAs, but on new subjects, is not possible. It's not good also. So what we do is that we do not favor this type of access. I mean, if there is a choice to be done, this will not be favored, but it's not forbidden. And I think...
The point was, you have an infrastructure... You have facility A, based in a country, in France, that is closely linked to a research unit, like Herbipol and INRAE in France. And then you have researchers coming from abroad, proposing a protocol to be applied on this facility A, with researchers from the unit which is linked to the facility. And to me, I mean, as a reviewer, I would be quite...
You mean that there is collaboration?
Yeah, so...
For me, this is positive.
Yes, it's
yes,
positive.
for you, but...
But was it a selection criterion? I mean, would the hosting institution should have an interest in the project, scientifically speaking, other than
No,
providing...
it was not.
Okay.
It was not a criterion for selection. We had external reviewers, 2 external reviewers for each proposal, and it was the first criteria was the scientific quality of the proposal.
But from the viewpoint of the Commission, which I am not the Commission, if scientific expertise is one service offered by the phenotyping infrastructure, so it is okay, because the infrastructure is not only offering an equipment, a set of cows or cow weeks, but is also offering or not. It depends how it is presented by the infrastructure. But if the infrastructure says, I am also offering scientific expertise to help tuning projects or to improve projects, I think it is eligible because it is a service. Because it should not be a case by case, oh, this is my friend, so I have now this project with my friend. It has to be said from the beginning, the infrastructure can provide access to scientific advice.
Yes, to complete the response. In the estimation of the cost of the TNA, we included some research staff skills, scientific skills, well, not too much, but some scientific skills and scientific staff contribution is included in the calculation of the cost. I'm sorry, I think we have to stop now because we are now 10 minutes late, but it's okay. So I thank you, everybody. I don't know if Angela or Joan want to add something, or is...
Thank you so much. And also for...
so thank you very much again for your contribution. And
I'd just like to add from an industry perspective, I think it's a really valuable initiative that you've done. And so applause on that. And particularly from a company who have not had a ruminant strong history, it's been really valuable.
So thank you, John.